Hello crafty friends, it's Sigga here, and today I'm going to be using this beautiful Hip Hip Hooray collection to create several cards inspired inspired by the Springs in the Air card kit. I'm using the same instructions as you get with the kit, and I'll have a link to the info on that below. And I'm just doing my version of the Springs in the Air card kit using the Hip Hip Hooray collection. And I'm using the 8x8 collection and several pieces of the patterns and solids. Now, like I mentioned, I cut all the pieces according to the measurements you get with the kit. So nothing new there. And I'm just adhering them using my favorite kind of glue. You can of course use liquid glue, double-sided tape, tape runner, whatever takes your fancy. And I inked all the edges of my patterned paper with a colored distress ink. I used blue and a light green. Of course that's not necessary, but I do love using ink to distress my papers. Just, I don't know, makes me happy, I guess. And here I'm scoring the biggest piece, that will be the square on front of the card, which is like the pop-up element, as to speak. And I really love the instructions with this card kit, because it's really easy to follow. If you've never done a pop-up card before, this is the perfect way to get started. Crisp, clear information, and just everything is there. And I'm using scrapbook paper, or 12x12 paper, and this one is textured on one side and smooth on the other. So I just want to keep the textured side on the front. Now, since this is scrapbook paper, it may not want to fold as neatly as many other 8x11s, but that's okay. I just run over the scored edge with a bone folder and it smooths it right out. So basically you can use any paper that you have, just give it a go. If it works or not, just give it a try. And like I said, I use a mixture of different kinds of adhesive. I use liquid, double-sided tape, and tape runners. Just whatever I think is handy to grab at that particular moment. Now, I didn't change that much regarding to the design of the card, other than using a different kind of paper, because that is really nice. If you get one of the kits, or if you see them on YouTube on the Graphic 45 channel, you can always see what you have at home. You can use any paper that you have. It is not limited to one Graphic 45 collection. You can use all of your beautiful Graphic 45 papers to create any of the kits. That's what I love about it. And yeah, like I said, I didn't change that much, but I did change the way, I guess you could say, the back of the card looks. Because I wanted to add a bit more, I guess, a journaling spot, or a place to keep a special message, or if you wanted to include a photo of sorts. And I'm just sticking that square piece to the front of the card. I like using double-sided adhesive to areas of my cards that will be, I guess, used much, or handled is maybe a better word. And that way I am more inclined to believe that it will stay put and not fall apart. Because I know a lot of the kids that I give cards to like to keep them as decoration, or just to play with them. And So I do prefer them being able to handle the pressure of a playtime of a kid, I guess. And this is the second pop-up of the card. Now what is great with this pop-up section, or the second pop-up section, is that you can place it anywhere you want on the front of the card. You can do it on the right side or the left side or the center, whatever takes your fancy. Love that. And I was thinking the next time I do this, I would add some kind of, I guess, flying elements, I don't know, butterflies or such, and just use clear, not tape, you acetate that you can stick to the back, so when you open up the card it kind of pops up. I think that would be a great idea. I'll do that next time. And then to it here, I'll stick the flap on the front, because I'm going to be using liquid glue on that part and I didn't want it to go everywhere. So I had to use a pencil and just mark the edges of where I wanted to squirt that bit of glue. So that way I am sure I am not making a blob of mess, which I can sometimes do with liquid glue. Somehow me and liquid glue don't always get along, so I like to be cautious just in case I mess up, which I often do. But then again, it's easily fixable, but I like to be safe. I guess. So for the back and the front, I want to utilize the chipboard pieces because they're so pretty, and this large frame actually fits perfectly on the back of the card. So I decided to use that as a pocket of sort that you can put the message or sentiment on the card. And I'm using 3D foam adhesive, and I have this foam roll and it's a bit too wide, but not a problem. I just cut it in half so that it fits my frame. So the idea with using the chipboard frames is to not just add a pocket, but you could actually put a photo in there as well. You can have it, you can stick it behind the frame or just have it to be able to remove. So that was kind of a cute idea. Why not? So I'm just peeling the backing of the foam adhesive and placing that on the back. And I just want to make sure that the frame doesn't go past the bottom of the card so that it can actually stay up. I'm just putting it as close as I can and keeping the frame centered-ish. I did not measure really. And just adding a little bit of pressure to making sure that everything sticks together. Now your card stands up and it is a frame as well. So all I need to do now is to decorate the front using any of these beautiful images, chipboard pieces, or the cutout, beautiful collection of cutouts in this collection, or fussy cut from the pattern paper. You can just do whatever you want. So many possibilities. So I finally came to a conclusion. I am adding one of the stamped images that come in a row, and I just cut these apart and ink the edges at the top of the card to add a bit of interest, but not covering the beautiful patterned paper. And then on the front I decided to use one of the smaller chipboard frames as a backdrop really, and picked one of the cute little cuties from the ephemera pack were so many cute critters. Oh my gosh, it was hard to pick. But I finally came to a decision to use this little cute one with all those balloons. I mean, how adorable is it? Oh. And I'm just adding this using liquid adhesive. I like using these chipboard frames as not to be using them as frames as such, but they are a great backdrop to add to a collage or any kind of layering, really. I love that. And they are very sturdy as well. And also it's quite good, since you have a chipboard frame in the back, to have something chipboardy-ish, I guess, on the front, just to balance the card out, so it's not too heavy on the front and too heavy on the back and too light on the front. So it has something kind of a balance of sorts. I have no idea whether that is correct or not, but it makes sense to me when I'm making the card. And I'm just using 3D foam as well, I guess just to give the front a bit more dimension. And this cute little chipboard piece, the package, which is so cute. So I thought, why not have this little dude with the balloons and then a huge present? I mean, who doesn't love a huge present? So why not? It's someone's big birthday. Love that. And that's the front done. No, the front is not done. I decided to add ribbons. I added that cute little bear at the corner and the XO on top of that frame. I really like using the ribbons. They add a little touch of colour and interest in such an easy way. I absolutely love those. And now for the back. Of course, I need to add a bit of decoration to that frame, of course. I just can't have it blank. So I picked one of the tiny little tag pieces, added a ribbon I had in my stash, and stuck that to the bottom of the frame. Now all I have to do is measure what kind of or what size of tag I want to be able to fit in the frame. So the one I cut is 2.5 by 5 inches. And I decided to round the edges just to make it easier to pull out and stuff. And of course ink the edges. And then the tag needed to have a bit more decoration. Couldn't just be plain vanilla. Couldn't do that. So I put that pretty balloon cluster on the front. And of course you need to be able to pull the tag out of the pocket. So I just punched a hole at the top of that little tag and used that same kind of ribbon I used for that decoration of the frame itself, and just pulled it very gently so that I don't rip the hole. You can of course use eyelets to reinforce the hole, but I did not think of it at that time. Would have been a good idea. And just sealing the edges of the ribbon so it doesn't fray. And now just finishing touches and adding the tag to the frame. And ta-da! Then of course you can take the frame out and put a photo instead or whatnot. I'm just making sure that I find the balance to have it standing up. And here are some of the cards I created as well. So this is the card I just made. It looks so pretty. I like it. And then I created several other cards using that same collection and same directions. And as you can see here, I put the pop-up or second pop-up element in the middle on 2 of the cards. As I mentioned, you can use this wherever you want on the card. And there I used a smaller frame and therefore created a smaller tag. It's a great way to use up anything. And for the ones that didn't have the frame at the back, I just created a little pocket using one of the cutter parts sheet and just created a little tag that fit in that pocket to hold your sentiments and such. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!